Welcome to A Magical Life, Health, Wealth and Weight Loss. I'm your host, Magic Barclay, lead practitioner at Holistic Natural Health Australia and #1 best-selling author. In this podcast, I aim to give you practical tips on how to accelerate and sustain your health, increase your financial, spiritual and emotional wealth, and to look at something that haunts many of us needlessly, weight loss. In some episodes, I'll have guests available to give you even more tips, but in others, the floor is yours. Drop us a line at A Magical Life Podcast on Facebook and let me know what you would like to know more about. Now, sit back and enjoy, because it is time for you to create and truly discover a magical life. Welcome back to A Magical Life. I'm your host, Magic Barclay, and today Dale Sidebottom joins us again. He is the creator and founder of JUGAR Life and Energetic Education. Welcome back, Dale.
Thank you, Magic. It's great to be back on the show again.
So in our last episode, 234, we discussed all our standard questions and we discussed how you can gamify things, how play works as an adult, but there's so much more to uncover. What can you tell the listeners that they really need to hear today?
I'll tell the listeners that they're enough. Celebrate your wins. Don't judge yourself to other people. I know I mentioned that in the last episode. And make sure you're having fun. I just think this is something that it's really funny now, and particularly a lot of work I'll go to a school, Magic, and they will get me to come in and talk to like their students, so a whole group or something, and they're simply saying, can you come in and teach our kids how to have fun and connect again? And I'm like, wow, it's really scary, because that's real life. And I'm fortunate that I didn't have lockdown and home learning, and like I didn't lose 2 years of my teenage life. But I think also with that, adults have had the same things taken away from them. And a lot of them have been homeschooling their kids, or they've lost their job, or there's just been so many negative things that have happened. So the one thing everybody needs to hear is just have fun. If you're not having fun, that's not on anybody else, that is on you. And you need to find ways to change that. I think that's the biggest realization I've had, that if my day isn't going well, and I check in with myself, have I done certain things? And normally I haven't done them. I may not have exercised in the morning. I may not have had some form of play. I may not have connected with a friend. But yeah, if you're not having fun or things are a bit tough, you need to stop what you're doing now, grab out the elastic like we spoke about last time, get a chair and get going, find a friend, anything. Life's short. Don't wait. I talk a lot about don't buy green bananas, Magic. No one buys green bananas because you cannot eat them. And if you do, that's disgusting. Don't buy green bananas because you cannot eat them right now. So what I'm saying is, don't delay something. If there's something you want to do right now, do it. All right. So don't say, oh, I'll put that off next week to go into the gym. I'll do that holiday next year when I retire. Don't do that now. Stop buying green bananas. Start living life and having fun. That would be my #1 thing I want listeners to take away from today.
Love it. All right. People are probably wondering, what is JUGAR Life? What does it mean? Where does that word come from? And what do you do? What is it?
Yep. So JUGAR Life, I think it's actually pronounced JUGAR. It's Spanish for play, but I like saying JUGAR Life better, and that sort of rolls off the tongue. So essentially it is play for life. And this all came about, I was about 30, 31, and I went through a really bad divorce, and I was in a really negative place. And the reason is I wasn't a nice person. I was a bit of a narcissist. I was simply a workaholic. And things came to erupt. I didn't have anywhere to live. And anyway, I went through a lot of counseling, and I did a lot of work on myself. And I realized that I wasn't a good person. And the reason is I didn't love myself. I was constantly, working so hard, creating businesses. I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when I get this happy. And then I didn't celebrate. And I was always happy, and I was never present. And I realized that that's not living life. That's skating through life, and you're not getting anything there. So one thing I realized was each day when I started playing, and I was still teaching at this stage, and I was a bit selfish, I would add in 3 or 4 play games with the kids, just in the classroom, silly ones throughout the day. And it was amazing how that changed my mood, how it blocked out all the noise from my divorce and how negative I felt about myself and all the horrible things going on. And I'm like, wow, that's my mindfulness. So JUGAR Life came about simply through things that I learn about myself and now I obviously use with other people. And I call it the daily peg when I'm doing my workshops. And each day you need to have some form of play, exercise, gratitude, and giving. And if you can do that, and it's really comical, but at the end of the day, you can get a peg and put it on your collar. And it's just a little reminder. And so what I try and do now is I work with kids, adults, families, corporate sport clubs on ways to use play, ways to make exercise fun through play, different ways to practice gratitude, which isn't journaling. Journaling is great for a lot of people, but particularly if you're a kid, it's boring. It's repetitive. It's not the same. So I've created a number of ways to gamify, practicing gratitude, working on different ways to be grateful for the things you do have instead of you don't. And then obviously kindness and giving. They're the last two because I feel it's important to give to others. But the one key, Magic, and we spoke about this before, is you need to be kind to yourself. You cannot do anything for anybody else until you start doing that. So essentially, it's a multidisciplinary business. We've got apps, we've got free courses, we've got everything you need to basically help you improve your mental and physical fitness, I call it, through play, through connecting with others, and that's the biggest thing that I suppose JUGAR Life or JUGAR Life, however you want to say it. I went with that name because it's different and people, when they're pronouncing it, you've done a great job pronouncing it today, Magic, but they sort of remember it. It's a little bit different.
Love it. We see so many apps on phones for elasticity and, brain elasticity, but they still require you to sit there and play the app. Like you still got this thing in your hand that you're tied to. So what's the connection between elasticity of the brain and movement?
Yeah, so and those apps are great. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the time the problem with those apps, Magic, are somebody's playing them by themselves with a device. So for me, that's great every now and then if you're on a plane or you want to work on improving your brain and memory and different things like this. But the joy of play isn't playing on a device and because I've created over 30 mobile apps and I barely talk about those now because I don't want people using those apps. I want people going back and playing traditional games where, dice, cards, paper, scissors, rock, really simple randomized games that don't require anything. You can play them anywhere. But the biggest thing is, and like I said before, when they're playing these games on the iPad, they're doing it by themselves. Play is a gift that you gift to yourself and other people. And so little activities that you can do where you play with other people, it's amazing. You see workplaces transform and different sides of people come out, and it's mental. The different sides of people that come out from these silly little games because they've never seen that side of them before, and people lose their mind and they don't actually realize they're doing it. And this is one of the things I talk about all the time. Don't label anything you're doing. So if I walk in and I'm going to a workplace to do a session or something or a school, I wear shorts and T-shirts and I'm comfortable. And people look at me and go, oh, what's this joker going to do? So instead of saying, we're going to play a game or we're going to practice gratitude, I don't do that. I simply go up, can you clap with me? Or can you do a movement? And that movement triggers them so they don't have a negative connotation about, I don't like games. I don't like this. So don't label what you're going to do. Particularly when we talk about, practicing gratitude. I know I'm going around in a circle. I'll come back, Magic, but I love getting a dice. Pick 6 questions that you like practicing, like what's the best thing you did today? What was the highlight last week? Anyway, instead of saying just pick a quick, roll the dice. By rolling the dice, it gamifies, it makes it fun. It breaks down barriers and allows vulnerability to occur. Then share it with somebody else. Draw it as a Pictionary. Get somebody to guess it. Once you've done it, put on a sticky note, stick it on the wall, make a gratitude wall. There are so many different ways to practice this, and that is all play. So what I love, and there are so many great apps out there, and I'm not dissing these at all. That is, they're brilliant and they've got causes. But for me, the brain works best when you're connecting with others, you're moving your body, and you're laughing. And unfortunately, I haven't found an app yet that allows that to occur.
Love it. Now, the listeners will know this because I've spoken about it before, but my family do medieval LARP. And so once a week, we have permission to beat each other up with foam swords, which is good. I mean, it keeps the relationship healthy. I'm actually a healer in my LARP character as I'm a healer in life. So people come to me when they're, in inverted commas, dead or dying, and I have to, for 15 or 30 seconds, chant something to bring them back to life, and then they can go back into the game. Everyone else on the field, right, I need to set this scene. Everyone else on the field is in their 20s or 30s. I'm 50, okay? So everyone else on the field does this medieval chant, and it sounds really authentic, and it's great role play. And I chant the words to the song Magic from Xanadu. And no one actually knows what it is. So I actually gamify this for myself without being so serious, healing people, because I know what the song is. It's my favorite song. And these kids are down on one knee getting healed with my hand on their shoulder going, what the heck are you saying? What is that? See? Made you giggle, makes me giggle.
Oh, I love that. That makes me smile, because that's the best thing. It's creative play. Like, and you look at all the skill sets we need in the world today, Magic. Creativity is nearly number one, and being curious is, I reckon, is nearly the other. What you're doing by that, your role play, fighting, that is being so creative. It's incredible. And I would encourage anybody to find something like that. And if you feel silly doing it, that's even better. Like, that's the best part about it, isn't it? Like, everybody's in it together. There's no judgment. Very similar to what I was saying last episode around, finding a community that uplifts you, that doesn't look down upon you. It's exactly the same. I love that. And I'd love to hear you rant your song. I reckon that'd be brilliant.
It's pretty funny. It's even funnier that I've been doing the same song as my healing chant for over 12 months, and they still have no idea where it's from. So as they go, I now say, you need to watch Xanadu.
It is a classic. They do need to watch it.
They do. Now, we've spoken around games, and we've spoken around laughter and fun. I'm normally a very serious person. In fact, when people joke around, sometimes I just get really super annoyed, because humor has to be on my terms for me. Okay. I know that's my character. So for the people that are a bit like me that go, oh, nah, can't have fun. No, this is serious. What are some easy steps to transition to make it fun on your terms?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I get this question all the time, particularly when I work in, like when I go into do a seminar, a keynote or a workshop or whatever, you'll get people that they feel uncomfortable and it's not what they want. And that's fine. I never force anybody to do anything. And I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody is different. We're all unique. We're all got our different needs. I think it's really important to, value other people. And if they don't want to do it, never force anybody to do anything. When you force somebody to do something, Magic, it never works out well for you or that other person. And I'm sure listeners are nodding along as well. So never force somebody to do something. But what I would say is, if you are like that, you need to find different avenues that you feel comfortable with. And that's the biggest thing. If you don't like what other people are doing or other situations, that's fine, not a problem. But you can't just really shut everything down. You sort of need to bring something to the table. And that would be my thing. And what I say to everyone is, there's so many options in life. I think if you want to practice mindfulness, I think there's nearly 200 different definitions of what it actually is now, because it means something different to everybody. It's exactly the same with humor, with laugh, with play. There's a brilliant book called Play by Dr. Stuart Brown, where he talks about people's play types, and there are 8 different play types. So you can't just roll into somebody and Magic. We might have completely different play types. I can't expect you to be on the same wavelength as me, and you cannot do the same to me. And I think that's where non-judgment comes into it. And that's the beauty of play. If you're judging someone or forcing someone to do something, that's red flags. No way. Catch you never. That's game over. So I would really, really investigate what your play type is. And not only that, find out what you like doing. All right. And bring that to the table and maybe negotiate with other people. It's a negotiation like life. You cannot just dictate and say, no, I don't want this. This is my way. That won't work either. So it's a dance. Sometimes you've got to give a little, take a little, got to do a curtsy, a bow, and then in foxtrot. So something like that, I reckon, Magic.
Love it. All righty. So people can find you on Insta, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Dale Sidebottom. And those cards that we mentioned last episode are at www.jugar.life/magic. daily-mission-cards. Wow, this has been a fun couple of episodes, Dale.
I've loved it, Magic. Thank you very much. I think a lot of the questions that we spoke about, they all relate back to everything that everything's very similar. And I think it comes back to the individual, it comes back to having fun. And if you take one thing away from me today, don't be so hard on yourself. I know everybody's got imperfections or things that they don't like about themselves. Do not focus on them. Focus on the things that are great about yourself and love yourself. All right. That's the biggest thing I would love listeners to take away. And Magic, I really appreciate having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me. Listeners, as always, thank you for your time. Quick shout out to Dan, who gave us a lovely review on Apple. We've shared it on our socials because we're just so happy that you're happy listening to the podcast. Listeners, go forth and create your magical life. Thanks for listening today. Please subscribe to hear future episodes, leave a review, and share this podcast. You can follow us on Facebook at A Magical Life Podcast or at Holistic Natural Health Australia. That's holistic with a W. You can find us on Instagram at Holistic Natural Health or at www.holisticnaturalhealth.com.au. That's where you'll access all sorts of articles, freebies, and more.